Alright, let's talk about the difference between the glottal stop and the internal pause. Because I know some people have confusion between these two, and I can see how it's confusing, right? So let's go ahead and demystify the difference between the two and how the two are used and spelled and whatnot. Alright, so first of all, let's talk about the glottal stop, right? The glottal stop is just this consonant sound that exists in Cebuano, right? It's a stop of air. And we have that in English when we say something like, uh-oh, right? Instead of saying, oh, you say, uh-oh, you cut off that piece of air when in between the and the o, right? So we do have that in English, and that's something that we can use to help us in Cebuano learning when you cut off that air, and you have the ability to do that. Um, so that's basically what a glottal stop is, right? It's the duration between the two sounds, the two phonemes from one sound to the next is cut by the cut of air and then let go again, right? But the duration of it is shorter than an internal pause, and you'll see how it's different. It's spelled with double vowels, existing between double vowels, or nothing at all. And this is where your memorization has to come into play. This is where you just have to commit things to memory, okay? So the examples we have for the glottal stop, right? Giingon, right? Giingon. Now listen to how I say it. Giingon. Giingon. There's a vowel here and a vowel here, and I'm cutting the air between both of them. Giingon, right? Giingon. The next word, ma'ak, 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 right? Ma'ak. There is a cut of air between the two again. This is an example for this one is when it's not spelled. You just have to memorize it, right? Sukat, right? Sukat. So there is a glottal stop after this right? And usually when learners begin it, they usually spell it with the accent, the grave accent on the last vowel, indicating that there's a glottal stop at the end. So suka, right? You just cut off the air. Instead of saying suka or suka, you say suka. You cut off that air at the end. Here's another good example, right? With this one, except the glottal stop starts in the beginning. So isda, right? Isda. And finally, we have bataa, right? Bataa. Kanang bataa, uy? Yeah, so bataa is another one. Whereas for the internal pause, right? The duration is longer, but the internal pause is spelled with a hyphen, right? And that's what happens with the hyphenated words that are internal pauses. And you'll see this a lot when you start affixating verbs and verbs get conjugated and switched, and words get affixated and things get deleted out because of morphological processes. You'll find yourself using this internal pause a lot, and these are the examples I can show you. Tuk-an, tuk-an. Listen to how I say it. Tuk-an. There's a longer pause than the glottal stop, right? It's not tuk-an, but tuk-an. Kat-on, bag-o, sul-ob, sul-ob, bag-o, kat-on, tuk-an. Okay, it's a little longer than giingon or maak, right? Or bataa. It's tuk-an. It's kind of saying 1 2, 1 2. You have that rhythm of a dun dun, like a heartbeat. Lub dub, right? So that internal pause is what's pausing those syllables together rather than cutting off the air or whatever sound in between it. And it's a longer pause than a shorter cutoff of air, right? So the sound here is a lot more shorter in duration, whereas here it's a little longer of a duration that you're going to hold off, okay? And again, it's spelled only with a hyphen. Every time you see the hyphen, you know that the syllable before and the syllable after is going to have that internal pause, all right? So I hope this kind of clarified things out. I know this was an interesting kind of topic that people will get confused about, especially with pronunciation, because I do hear this a lot from time to time.